You're the tenant, let me explain what we do first, right? First, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about what are your requirements, right? I need to understand everything about your business, right? And so we can go find the best property that matches your criteria. That makes sense to you? All right, so then what we're going to do is, we're going to do market research, and we do market research because we have access to all the right data and tools, and we also know all the brokers that are in this space, right? If you're looking office space or retail space. So we're going to go and, it'll probably take us a few days to do the market research. So we can find all the properties that matches what you told us or what we discussed during your needs analysis, right? And now, what we're going to do next is we're going to discuss which ones you like based on what you see, and then we're going to schedule the property tours. And we're going to go take a look at a few properties. And at each property, we're going to talk about, hey, does this meet your criteria, how you like it, what you don't like about it, and so we can make a decision based on all the other factors. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to send a request for proposal so we can start getting some return proposals, or in some cases we may send a LOI, or LOI is a letter of intent, to the landlord or the landlord's agent, so we can start the negotiations. So now only they're feeling like, oh, I need somebody to do all this stuff, right? I don't want to do it all by yourself. Plus the fact that, you're not paying me, they're paying me, right? So what is the, I'm just here to, Plus you can also throw in that landlord's agents typically are obligated to help the landlord. I'll be representing and looking out for your best interest, right? So that is another thing that we always say. Once we get the proposals, and we can do some analysis to see which one best fits you, right? How much it's going to cost you, bottom line. Because commercial language, there's a lot of variations about the base rent, triple nets, and all the different expenses and everything. So we will, we'll make it easy for you by telling you exactly how much things are going to cost you. And then, we'll also go back and look at our needs analysis and see if the property meets your original requirements, right? So we can talk about all that stuff. Then we are going to select a finalist. Typically, we want to select at least 3 finalists because we want to use us as a leverage for negotiations, right? Because the best thing to negotiate with the landlord is the landlord knowing that we have our options. So we want to negotiate from a strength of, from a position of strength. So this is kind of what we are going to do for you, right? We're going to do simultaneous negotiations so we can get the best rates and best deal for you. And then we're going to help you draft the lease document. A lot of the time, you may need an attorney at this point, or the landlord is going to send you their attorney drafted form, and we can refer you to some attorneys that we have worked with in the past, unless you have your own attorney, and you can help you with the lease negotiations, right? Drafting of the lease and review of the lease, and also making sure that everything is done properly. And then we will do the final negotiations. There's always going to be other things to negotiate because there's also a construction involved here, right? Because you have to build the space out for your needs based on your restaurant or whatever business you're starting. So once we have the contract bids, we will probably need to do some final negotiations to get the landlord to pay for some of those expenses, and we can negotiate all of that for you. And then we will, execute the lease once we have done the final review and everything. But at the same time, around the same time, we have to start thinking about space planning, right? So, and then, we can connect you with some of the contractors that we have used, or, we'll work with your contractor to make sure that we have a good estimate of how much it's going to cost you to do the construction there. And then you may also need some assistance with the relocation. If you're currently in some place, you need, telephony and interior design and stuff like that, we can refer you to people that now we are showing that we are very resourceful, right? We can help them. Now, do you think you want to work with me? Hell yes. So yes, no, I don't ask like that. We just say, oh, why don't you sign this document so we can get started, right? So this is our agreement, and by the way, you don't pay us anything. We look for our seller or the landlord to pay for it. If the landlord is not going to pay, then we'll let you know, and this is our fees, and and that is only very rarely where you have to pay. But we'll let you know in advance, right? If that's the case. But if that's the case, you pay us. But otherwise, we look to get our fees from the landlord, right? And I'm doing all this service. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson. Coronavirus is based from our residential business. At what point do you evaluate